Hey, yo, what is up? Two new tanks added to the super test, and this will complete the British medium tank wheel tank line. The AAC armored car is a tier 5 and the tier 6 is a Staghound Mark III. We are looking at both of these tanks today, starting with the AEC armored car tier 5. Now, a lot of people are going to just glean over this and probably free XP all the way up to tier 8s, tier 9s, maybe even tier 10s, but I got a feeling I'm going to hang around in tier 5s and tier 6. Maybe I will use my free XP to just get the top gun, top turret, and top tracks, top wheels maybe, and just play around with the tier 5s and tier 6. That's going to be my strategy. Why? Because I feel like these wheel tanks are going to bring something different to the game. They're going to breathe some new life into the game. They're going to look different. They're going to maybe drive a little differently, and they're going to give something special for us to remember as players. And I think this is what I'm going to do. Starting with the tier 5s, how competitive is this tank going to be? 580 hit points with 290 horsepower on a 14-ton tank with 20.07 or 20.70 power to weight ratio. Very high mobility, very agile tank, 60 kilometers an hour going forward and 30 in reverse, with the hull rotation speed of 30 degrees per second. Very agile, very mobile tank. This tank is going to be it seems like a light tank cosplaying as a medium tank, and this is the vibes that I'm getting. Absolutely no armor at all. Don't expect any armor in tier 5, of course. You only do 90 damage per shot, but you reload in 2.8 seconds, which means you probably don't even need to run a rammer, which opens up the possibilities of running other things like improved aim or vertical stabilizers, maybe even optics, and make yourself a superb hybrid light medium tank. Do some scouting, do some shooting. I think this will be absolutely fantastic because 2.8 seconds of reload time, it doesn't make sense to run a rammer and improve your reload time from 2.8 seconds to 2.5 seconds. It's better you just run it just the way it is, 2.8 seconds. 10 degrees of gun depression. This thing is insane. You can actually do ridgeline shooting, duck back into cover with the high mobility, and if you've got optics, you've got high vision. Man, this thing sounds like it's going to be a blast. I feel like this is like going to be like something like a Chaffee, maybe one of those interesting light tanks that have incredible combat capability, and that's the feeling I'm getting out of this tier 5 AEC armored car. It feels like a Chaffee. It feels like it's going to be combat capable. I don't know what the moving dispersions are at the moment, and I don't know what the camo values are, but they will have to release this information pretty soon, and then we'll know for certain whether this tank is going to be a super fun tank to play, or it's not going to be fun at all. Maybe it all really depends on what those end moving dispersions and those camouflage values are going to be like. Alright, next up we are looking at the tier 6. This is the Staghound Mark III. 800 hit points, 320 horsepower on a 13.16 ton chassis. This thing has incredible power to weight ratio, 24.3. This will dance around like a light tank, so you're getting the best of both worlds here. A light tank with a medium tank kind of scenario we have. In fact, if you take a look at the turret, it looks more like a Crusader turret, right? One of those British medium tanks. They just stuck on the turret on one of these wheeled chassis, and off they went. 4 wheels. Again, this is a wheel tank, but does not play like a wheel tank. When I say it does not play like a wheel tank, I mean it does not play like an EBR. With EBRs, when you want to turn your tank around, you've got to go forward and drive around in a circle to get yourself turned around. In this thing, it will pirouette on the spot just like a track tank, and this is one of the biggest advantage that the British wheel tank will have over the EBRs. This will mean that a lot of people are going to be able to just jump in and get acclimatized very quickly. They don't need to learn a new way of turning your tank around, or having any experience with the EBRs in order to play the British medium tanks. I think that is one of the disadvantages of the EBRs. So, you know, when you play an EBR, you feel so overpowered, you feel so you feel like you have a leg up on the rest of the opponents, especially if you are a good player or you're an experienced player. And EBR is an enormous advantage over the rest of your opponents. But in a British medium tank, you're going to be on par. You're basically going to be a tank with no armor, and I find actually fun in that. I find that is going to be the interesting part about it. You can't just you know, have full camo running around and nobody's going to be able to spot you like an EBR. The British medium tank, it's going to have a lot of its weaknesses. It's going to act like a tank. It's going to be able to turn its hull on the spot, pirouette on the spot like a track tank, which means a lot of people are going to be able to jump in and immediately drive it and feel at home with the tank. This thing reloads 3.8 seconds. You don't need a rammer to improve 10% of that reload time and bring that reload time down to 3.5 seconds. It's not going to make any difference at all. You might as well run improved aim, perhaps vertical stabilizers, perhaps even optics to improve your view range over the rest of your enemies. That is where I feel like you are going to gain an advantage here. Because of that quick reload time, you really don't need to run a rammer, and that opens up equipment that you can use to improve other parts of your tank, like your view range. 7 degrees gun depression. This means you can fight on a ridge, look from a distance, and this will be very helpful. You can get standard penetration at 138 millimeters for its AP shells, 190 millimeters on its APCR shells, which is pretty good. The shell velocity is also 1115 on the premium APCR shells and 850 on the AP shells, which is pretty much standard with tier 6 tanks at this class. It shouldn't be a problem. It's going to behave and perform like a regular medium tank. The only thing is, you got to remember, you've got no armor anywhere at all. You do get 125 of damage, so it goes in line with that quick reload time. Not a huge amount of damage, but quick reload time, so make sure you get 2 shots out every time. But anyway, those are the last 2 medium tanks. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.